ancestors told. Rebirthology, limitless living. Mind meets mystic, soul keeps winning. Limitless, 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 limitless. Rebirthology, where soul remembers how to be.
Well, welcome. I'm coming in for an impromptu hug, a verbal hug, a digital hug, just to check in with you before the holidays. I hope that you can see me okay. In fact, I'll probably shift the background, but I want to share with you the Unfiltered Truth. This is a bit of a watch party, the Unfiltered Truth, with my Bishop Jack Bomar. And yes, I know some of you have seen it, some of you have not seen it, and I want to watch it with you. And I want to hear what you think. Some of you have sent your thoughts and said it was compelling. Others of you have said that you found out that there was things that you didn't know about me, didn't know, just some things that you had never considered. So I'm just calling in the tribe to join us, to jump in, to let me know you're here. And I have something special for those of you who are in the tribe or rebirth adjacent to the tribe to talk about this season that we're in with the new moon, the grand trine in all of these water signs, and also the 6 planets in retrograde. So this is a good time for us to use our energy wisely. But I do want to just go to a little bit of these clips from this conversation that I had with Bishop Jack Bomar. And I really want you to watch along with me and also share any of your thoughts and questions. So we're going to pause and talk through it. Hey, welcome. I appreciate you. Okay, so of course, this particular conversation, it was called Spiritually Multilingual. Being spiritually multilingual is where we landed. However, this is now framed as spiritually multilingual being for on his channel, but the conversation is about being spiritually multilingual. So I do want you to tune in. Tell me what you think. Tell me your thoughts as we watch a few pieces of it together, if you don't mind, to let me know that you don't mind, that you're here. All right. This is an impromptu sharing, by the way. So I know that some of you didn't know that I was going live because we completed our series of Why Didn't Anybody Tell Us? And so here's a perfect opportunity to continue the conversation.
Welcome to today's episode of Unfiltered Truth. I'm your host, Jack Bomar, and I'm so excited for the conversation we're about to have. Our theme today is spiritually multilingual. What does it mean to be fluent in more than one spiritual tradition, practice, or language of the soul? In a world where many are seeking meaning across traditions, it takes courage and wisdom to integrate diverse ways of knowing into a single life of devotion and service. My guest today, Reverend Dr. LaTonia Taylor, embodies this beautifully. She has walked boldly in many spiritual paths as a minister, a teacher trained by the legendary Dr. Iyanla Vanzant, a producer, an astrologist, and an initiated priestess in the Yoruba tradition. And she's also part of the Hillside ministerial team, and she brings a rich and unique voice to what it means to live as a spirit-led, spiritually multilingual being. So let's dive in. LaTonia, welcome to Unfiltered Truth.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
I'm excited to for you to share more about your story with our listening audience. And, you know, you wear so many hats: minister, priestess, astrologer, teacher, producer. So I just have to ask, when people hear all of those titles, what's the most surprising reaction that you get?
It depends on who I'm talking to. It depends if I'm with social friends and they learn that I'm a minister, they're shocked.
Okay.
And when I'm when I'm with some of my spiritual community, you know, they're like, "Oh, that makes sense," you know.
So it's expected they know you.
Yes, yes.
Wow. Well, tell us about your journey. You know, that's you don't hear that often. A minister, an astrologer, priestess. So just share maybe briefly about your journey and how did you begin to explore those many paths to be as spiritually multilingual as you are today?
I would say that I'm from Vicksburg, Mississippi.
All right. You're Mississippi.
Okay. I'm a Southern girl, and so I always felt this connection with spirit that I didn't have words for.
Okay.
And I remember a turning point in my life when I was hearing from spirit, and there was this bookstore, new bookstore, and I was riding past and spirit told me to go in. And I went in and I remember walking down the aisle. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I was just scanning. And I literally, down on the bottom shelf, the book that fell out was The Road Less Traveled.
Wow. Is that Scott Peck?
Scott Peck.
Wow.
Yeah, Scott Peck. And I didn't know that that was going to be the precursor to really my life. And I just always, I didn't go look for spiritual things. They come to me.
Okay.
I mean, I was watching Donahue, and I remember when Father Stallings left the Catholic Church. I felt a belly leap, and I was on to I felt like I was on to something, like something was confirmed in me. And I think that began my journey of seeking because I knew that there was more. Okay, so I'm going to jump in here because I don't know if I said this while we were filming, but I was Catholic. So that's why watching Donahue that day with Father Stallings was significant to me, because at that time I was a practicing Catholic. So that's one knock on the journey of language that I spoke. But here I had this connection to something else. So if there are any Catholics or anybody in my family, they can testify to the fact that half of our family is Catholic and the other half is Baptist. So I think I say that part. So talk with me through this, especially if you're Catholic or if you can relate or you have converted or any of that. So let's keep going here. Because I actually thought I grew up Catholic, right? So let me back up. I'm from Vicksburg, Mississippi. I feel like I came from a family that was bilingual because one half of my family was Catholic. Oh, wow. The other half of my family is
Mississippi
Baptist. Oh yeah.
Wow.
And so I would go to church oftentimes with someone else, never my mother. So I would ride to church with someone from the neighborhood when my sister went off to college. Otherwise, she and I went to the Catholic Church. So when I would ride in with someone, then I'd ride over to my mom's church because she would come in later into the city, and then I'd go to her Baptist church.
Okay. All right.
So that I feel like it was a divine setup because literally I would go from the Catholic Church over to my mother's spirited Baptist church. And, it was very interesting. It was just normal.
Wow.
It was just normal. But then I had the nerve to go to college. And start questioning and asking questions. In
which school?
Southern University in Baton Rouge.
Even that, all my friends were going to Jackson State, Alcorn. I mean, I grew up in college culture. I grew up with the bands. So like on the weekends, my family we were going to wherever the bands were, wherever
wow.
the
I
games
just tell
were.
you
So I
about that.
grew up in a collegiate community that was marching band, football, all of that. But I couldn't do what everybody else was doing. So I was in high school.
When you say you couldn't do it, is that your parents prohibited, or you just
No,
didn't have that inner guide?
it's this inner thing like, nah, everybody going there. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. I was in ROTC, and I got a full ROTC scholarship to college, 4-year scholarship.
Oh, wow.
Army ROTC. So if I had gone with conformity and the way my life was going at that time, I would have been commissioned in the military. I got, it's kind of funny to talk about it, but I ended up at Southern, and that's where I started studying with the Nation of Islam.
Really?
Is at Southern.
Okay.
Now I'm on this 4-year Army ROTC
as a
scholarship.
student.
Yes. I heard Minister Farrakhan.
Okay, so did you all know that about me? Those of you who are in the tribe, did you all know that I had a 4-year Army ROTC scholarship, that I had spent about 2 or 3 years dedicating my life not dedicating my life, but let's just say participating in JROTC in high school. So in my mind, I literally thought that I was headed to boot camp and then, to be to an Army life, essentially. So that was my way to Southern. Did you all know that about me? Talk back to me in the comments if you're watching. Let me know. And let me know if there's something new or something that you can relate to. It's so funny and so good when somebody asks you questions about yourself with such great detail, but I know for sure that this is a story that I'm supposed to tell. And so I've been holding it for far too long. And I really thank, Bishop Dr. Jack Bomar for 1, being interested, 2, finding value, and 3, always calling me forward to shine. It feels good when you're in the presence of a mentor who does not mind you shining. Thank goodness for also the Reverend Dr. Iyanla Vanzant, of course, who has always included me, put me on stages with her. And I could go on and on in terms of other mentors, but you know what it feels like to be in the room with people that you admire or respect, and they genuinely see something that you can bring to the room. So this is important for the context, but I appreciate that. You said, no, you didn't know you was in JROTC in high school as well. And I want to encourage you all, although we are doing this live watch party, the party piece is going to come in a moment. But I do want you to encourage you to follow his channel as well, because, there may be a conversation with someone else that lights up your grid. And it may be something that you've heard me say that's better explained through the journey of all of the other charismatic personalities that he has on. I thank you, God, that I get to be in the company of Pastor Christian. I can't remember his last name, but his brand is known for being a disruptor in Christianity. And there's another brother who's running for Congress. And of course, my dear brother, Dr. Jerome Malsby, who you've seen also on the channel. So let me keep going. All right. Let me know if you have questions too. Bishop Jack, not Pastor, Bishop.
I don't know. It didn't happen like that. So I'm on this 4-year Army ROTC scholarship. I'm hanging out at the TTLA business building, and I hear this guy talking about who we were. I think knowing who my family is, I can see why it's in my blood. And so I heard him talking about who we were and how we had been lied to. And my spirit said, what is he talking about? So I actually started going to see more, what was he talking about, and got introduced to a smaller sect that called themselves the New Nation of Islam. Totally not related. And so they would always come down on Minister Farrakhan. I never heard of him. I'm like, who is this guy they keep talking about? And so finally, when now I'm familiar, and then he's coming on campus. When I heard the minister, he's spoken to my spirit as well. And that also was a turnaround. Now, mind you, I'm on a 4-year Army ROTC scholarship.
Wow.
I'm waking up.
Okay.
It's not feeling good being in the white man's army. And understand I'm going to be commissioned as a lieutenant, and I gotta pledge allegiance to this. My allegiance was no longer there anymore. And now I'm like, how can I get out of this scholarship? Because I want to go. Now I had a professor in the unit who was woke. And for the woke, please put it in the context. He was awakened. He was not the way he was conscious. It has been usurped. Yeah, got it. He was spiritually conscious. He had been studying things. He knew some kind of way we got into a conversation, and we started to have more and more spiritual conversations. And I told him, I said, I don't want to be on this scholarship. I really don't want to do this. I don't feel, my heart is not in this anymore. And I had read that, if I gave up the scholarship, how I'd be penalized. And he said, I know a way out. And that was also a turning point, because nobody in my family was happy with me. And this is when the black sheep, being different, being a bit of a rebel, started to really set in, because I had an aunt that was military. I think my family was a little bougie, actually. and I didn't know it then. I didn't know my family. So like, you're doing what? You're giving up a full ride that gives you a stipend every month. How dare you? We work for this. But I stood on this calling that was like, no, there's something more. And then that was another turning point. I say it was another rebirth. And so that's how I really started on my spiritual path, is the moment that I gave up that scholarship. I felt free to start asking more questions and studying more things. I thought I was going to be a nun. When I told you I was Catholic, I was still called even as a Catholic. I was in love with God. Wow. And I wanted to devote myself to God even as a young person. I thought I was going to go be a nun. Was that before college? Oh, yes. When I was a young girl, we had, in Catholic school, I went to Catholic school. You had to study religion. And I always got straight A's in theology. Though they loved me at the Catholic school, because I always got straight A's in theology. I always resonated. I would go to the nuns lived on campus at my elementary school, and I would go and I would just go through the halls and walk, and I just was in love with it. Wow. With the idea of devotion. So you started learning many spiritual languages as a youth, from Baptist to the Catholic to becoming part of the nation. Did you become a member of the nation? Eventually, I did, of course, yes. So from the nation, and you always felt this connection, this spiritual connection. How did you end up on the path of ministerial ordination, and from that to priestess to astrologist? How did you get there? So I grew up.
It took me some time, by the way, to get to this part of the story. It really did. But I want to pause for Karen's comment, because it's what you're saying is so true, Karen. You said it's incredible that when you're awakening, someone is there waiting to explain to you what is going on, so you don't think you're going crazy. Now, let me tell you something, though. I didn't have anybody I did not have anybody to explain anything to me. A lot of the spiritual things, the phenomena that was happening at different times, the sequence of events, I didn't necessarily have anybody. I had this that he really wasn't a mentor. He was an instructor who was reading and taking in the same type of things that I was by the time I was in senior ROTC on Southern's campus. At this time, I'm still going through the Bible, trying to get closer to God in my mind. And I'm skipping a lot, because we only had a certain amount of time. So that's why I want you all to ask any questions, because I'm definitely skipping a lot. Because I do, he digs in, and I think he might have asked this one question about 3 times, because it took a minute to unpack the answer of how did you become spiritually multilingual. Well, hell, I didn't really realize that I was spiritually multilingual until a few years ago. I just thought I was bilingual at some point midway in the journey. But let's keep going. Thank you, Karen. You always have a way of bringing up the minute details, and I think that has a lot to do with your eye for art as a stylist and all of that. So but yeah, please put your comments, especially if you feel a belly leap in what you're listening to.
As a woman, I think there was a part of me that also felt like I didn't belong in my family. So I've always, it was seductive to be a part of something where I belong.
Okay.
And so I felt a belonging in the nation. There was community. There were big sisters. There was, I was part of a movement. And so I felt safe there. I didn't feel safe in my own family. Wow. And so by the time now I'm in the nation, I'm serving the nation, I'm also married. I got married at 19.
All right, this is remember, yeah. No filters, no
filters.
So 19.
I got married at 19. In the nation, you do not date. You court.
Was this a college sweetheart or child?
Oh, no. This is an FOI who is still in the nation today on Minister Farrakhan's team.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my family over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
so
my
you got
family.
Deep roots.
Yes. Yeah. And so I didn't come into the nation for him. I was already in the nation. And so you don't court long in the Nation of Islam. You go 3 months, 6 months, people start looking at you. What's up? What you doing?
Okay.
If you've been courting a year or more, you like somebody in authority is having some conversations with you.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So that's 6 months is really crossing a line. And so within 3 months of meeting my ex-husband, I got married. I would say that, he was very respected in the Nation of Islam. And I was a captain. I was a sister captain. First I was a lieutenant. I was moved in through leadership very quickly. So I was, the sergeant, a captain, all of that in the nation. And I say all that to say I was 19.
Wow.
So I didn't really know who I was.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I just went from one religion to another. That's why I can talk to people who just trade places.
You have a lot of people trading places.
Okay, before we get into that, because that got really good. And so Chantel said, why is belonging... Wait a minute, wait. Chantel said, why is belonging so important? I'd like for you to give me a little bit more, but when you don't feel like you belong in a family, or you're at times unwanted, or you're treated different, one part of the family treats you different, even to this day. Many, I'm going to be completely honest, even if they're watching. I had one person from my family that was present. Two was coming. A third would have come, and I will say that my family is smaller. Some of them don't travel. It just depends. But the thing is that this dynamic happens in families all the time. And, I talk to you all the time about healing the black sheep narrative, but I realize I inherited that narrative from even my mother. She always felt that she was treated differently. And then when I began to learn and ask more questions, it goes much deeper. So when you don't feel like you belong, and let me say this, also that's such a valid question, Chantel, because when you want to belong so bad and you defer your dreams, you choke back your truth, you lose your identity in order to belong. There are some people who don't have the calling to step out, to disrupt, to do something different. And so I think that that's important because when you don't feel like you belong in your core family at times, even if it's not true, because all of that was not necessarily the truth. Some people in my family will hear this and say, "What are you talking about?" But that gets deeper into my story, my mother and father's divorce, me being a sensitive child, being a seer, and not knowing what all these spiritual gifts was and not having language for them. Why did I internalize things so deeply? Why did I process it so differently? And so if people in your family do not have the tools to process or to meet you where you are, you can become labeled or they treat you different. Come on now. Y'all watching me? Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me crazy, and don't be over there nodding your head saying that's right and don't put it in the comments, because I know you all know I've been working and doing this work for 20 years and I hear these stories all of the time. But just that simple question is so valid to ask. So thank you for asking that. And you said, I asked that because I have felt like I don't belong. So now it's like, well, why is it important to belong? And you know what? That is still a valid question to ask yourself on your own journey. Like, what do you sacrifice in order to belong? What part of you does not get fully expressed because you want to be accepted, you want to please people, and you don't want to upset the apple cart, so to speak. So that's a very good question. I love my tribe. You all are so amazing. Okay, I want to catch what Karen says. I say explaining but not teaching. Someone can tell you that you are awakened, but they don't teach you. Yeah, you're right. They let you know that it's gonna take you searching for yourself, and this is where the teacher finds the student. Yes, but the work is yours to do. Teach, Karen. You saying that it's not teaching, but that's good teaching right there. That's good teaching right there. Yes. Yeah. So let's keep the questions or the ahas or the parts that you connect to flowing. And, you all can see that Bishop and I have a great relationship. We talk like this all the time when we have time in between doing the work. So I kind of almost forgot that the cameras was there. And so did I tell you all this is the first time me watching this interview with you? I'm doing it with you. I'm doing it with you, girl. Or my brothers. Okay, so should I keep going? Keep going if you're still there. If you liking what you hear, let me know, because if not, I'll stop and tell you what the other thing that I want to tell you about the alignments and the stars and the and the archetypes and all of that good stuff. Let me know if you want me to keep going, because I do want you all to go watch the full on his channel if it's been good to you. He said that he was going to have me back for a part 2 because we ran out of time. you know? All right. Yes, yes, yes. And listen, you all who are a part of the Rebirth Ministry, Bishop knows about the work we're doing. He knows it's a specialized ministry. He is supporting the Reverend Dr. Yanla knows the so it's great to have that covering and check in. I am accountable in everything that I am doing and encouraged to keep on doing it the way that I hear for spirit to do it. And sometimes it's not easy. There are a lot of people who watch and try to duplicate, copycat, follow, or judge. But I just want to acknowledge those of you who are in the Rebirth Ministry, okay? I just want to acknowledge those of you who are in the portal, and not necessarily, even if you're not a partner in the ministry, but you're in the portal and you have done the work, you've gone through the process. So let me keep going.
You just go from one thing to the next, but you never know who you are. And so here I am. I'm young. I'm married. I'm in leadership. I'm growing up in the nation, and it's I don't have on rose-colored glasses. The nation is a nation, a community with all its flaws, just like the church, just people and personalities, and so I had to do my inner work, and that's where
I need to stop and say this. I did have on rose-colored glasses at one point. That's for a greater story. I had on rose-colored glasses. I was young. I definitely put a lot of leaders on pedestals. I followed all of the rules, so to speak. Some of you know my story. When I got married the first time, I tell it in my book. I tell this story in my book. I didn't know. I waited to have sex before I got married. I was following, quote unquote, all of the rules. So when you go through a process of feeling like, hey, I followed the rules, why is this happening in my life? I know that that's a question that anybody who loves God or tries to ask themselves. If you've been married and you went to school, got a good grades, got through school, went to college, got a degree, got married, every good girl asks themselves, hey, I followed the rules. Now, even if you are one of the ones who didn't follow the rules, was in the streets, got on drugs, got addicted and that type of thing, sometimes you do the opposite. You spend your life because you feel bad that you didn't follow the rules and come to God in distress. And that begins to shape your relationship, not only with God, but with yourself, because if you have been conditioned to believe that there's a God outside of you, then you're always trying to earn some kind of brownie points with God. And then when life happens, it calls you into relationship and not just religion. Who am I talking to? All right, let me keep going. I want to be completely transparent because you all are transparent with me. Okay. Karen says rose-colored glassware here. Okay. Anybody, don't leave me and Karen out here by ourselves. There are other people who had on rose-colored glasses when it came to religion, when it came to marriage, when it came to going to school, getting good grade, being so good, or whatever the case may be. Come on now. I know I'm not, it's not by myself. Chantel said, oh my God, I'm feeling bad all the time. And that's not it. Yes, 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 yes. Tamara said, this is such a good interview. And this is my 5th time watching it. Oh, wow. I'm so honored. I'm going to tell Bishop Jack that, and hopefully he'll see this. So many gems you dropped in calling in podcast series with you to be. Okay, I lost that part. Okay. All right. Rose-colored glasses. Okay. Chantel North. All right. Tamara said, yes, I had a pair. Okay. Oh, wait. Dee Dee said, here. I had a pair of rose-colored glasses. Okay. We want perfection from people, and that's not the truth. And this is why many of us just trade places. I'll tell y'all a story I was just having a conversation with somebody in another tradition who told me that they had done deconstruction. And I said, you didn't do deconstruction. You still practicing the same religion that you were born into. She said, oh, well, what is deconstruction then? And when I began to explain to her what deconstruction was, she said, oh, no, I haven't done deconstruction. There are so many people who don't even understand, those of you who have done deconstruction, to confront the beliefs, challenge the beliefs, and then tear down the pillars. So because they no longer align with who you are and what you believe about God, yourself, sex, love, money, the hot topics that we get programmed around. And so when I broke it down to her what deconstruction is, she said, oh, I didn't, because there are a lot of Me Too people. Oh, Me Too. Yeah, I did that. And I look at people even who are still Christian, and they say, oh, I deconstructed, but you still doing practicing in the same church, in the same faith. You never walked another path. You never paid the price for tearing down the pillars and then reconstructing. And sometimes you do it more than once. Okay. All right. Keep going. Somebody say, keep going, LaTonia.
Yanla came in because here I am
I'm
now.
gonna rewind
Now I'm elevated in the nation. And it's, you know, I don't have on rose-colored glasses. You know, the nation is a nation, a community with all its flaws, just like the church, just people and personalities. And so I had to do my inner work. And that's where Yanla came in, because here I am now. Now I'm elevated in position. I had a lot of envy and jealousy because I was a well-kept woman, and I'm in position. So the old ladies wasn't really feeling me. They wasn't feeling me. And so then, you know, now I have womanhood questions. And so I couldn't really talk to my mom because they came from this old school thing, like, don't trust no man, honey. I don't care what you say. Put your money to the side, do all this. And I wasn't really in that mindset. So I didn't really want that type of guidance, even though it has some value now, I understand.
Okay.
And so I was walking once again in a bookstore, Bishop. That's where actually, someone in the nation, sometimes people can be real rigid. And so a sister brought in Yanla's book. And I remember the first time it was Acts of Faith. And I was like, nah, I ain't messing with that.
Wow.
Pushed it to the side. And then I don't remember what happened, but I was in the bookstore. I was looking again for something that could...
Okay, pause. I'm going to rewind a little bit, but pause. It was not Acts of Faith. It was Tapping the Power Within. And I read the first few pages, and like many of you watching me, like there are people who watch me who are in my class. There are people who watch me who went to college, went to high school. There are people who watch me in other communities and met me somewhere else, and they say, oh, that's witchcraft. Oh, no. I ain't fooling with that. So those are the people who don't like your posts. Those are the people who talk about you behind your back. Those are the people who come to you only when they're in distress before they get it. Oh, that's not what that is. But anyway, I was one of those people. That's how come I have a lot of compassion for many of you when you're in your judgmental, afraid, standoffish, look and see energy.
Wow.
Pushed it to the side. And then I don't remember what happened, but I was in the bookstore. I was looking again for something that could speak to me as a woman. Check this out. I didn't want to hear anything about the revolution and the struggle. I already knew who we were. I didn't want to read that. Most of the things that was in the bookstore was about the revolution. not really like the revolution, but you know, like historical books, you know, like
where have we been?
Yeah, I didn't want that.
Through.
I needed to talk to me as a Black woman. And it was Yanla that I saw again, and I just immersed myself into that. And then I found out she had workshops and training, and I started to go from Chicago, because I was, I was at Mosque number 2 in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yes.
I used to live around the corner from there.
Really?
Yeah. Was it Stony Island? Off Stony?
Yes, indeed.
I was in the East End.
Okay.
South Shore.
Yes. Yeah. So I was coming from Chicago to Maryland, started taking trainings, workshops, anything she had. And they really embraced me. There were 2 sisters who were from the nation in that community. And they became my elders, my angels, peace and blessings upon one of them who's made her transition,
Wow.
who I was gifted her dissertation for her doctorate. When they found out that I was going to be provost, I was given her entire dissertation. So Mama Helen, I speak her name. She was from the nation. Another mother was Mama Musina. When I went to Iyanla, she will tell you I came in headpiece and a number 19, because that's the dress from the Nation of Islam.
Wow.
I was still wearing a draped scarf and a number 19.
Wow.
So she knows me when. It took them a long time to stop calling me LaTonia Muhammad.
Really?
Because I went back to my dad's name.
Okay.
But for years, I was LaTonia Muhammad, even when I went to the church. Because now, mind you, so now I moved to Maryland. And I'm doing all the personal development work now.
Well, you see that's at Iyanla's
Yeah,
church.
so I moved to Maryland. And because once again, any moves I make, most of the time, I hear a call. I hear guidance.
So when you say you hear an inner call.
Inner call. Okay. I hear guidance.
What is it like? Is it an audible call? Is it a feeling? You see it in a dream? Is it an urge, an unction?
It's a combination. Not always a dream, but it's I'm an intuitive, so I can. I didn't know that at the time. So when I hear or feel the guidance, it's a strong, like premonition feeling. And then I begin to get symbols and guidance. And so then I got that, but I was married. So I was like, oh my God. But my husband, ex-husband at the time, we weren't on the same page. He was talking about going this way, and I'm hearing a call to go this way. And people think in the nation started to make up, Iyanla called her out of the nation in her marriage. It's unfiltered, right? I mean, that they don't know I know, but So that's not what happened. So I was on this spiritual journey. I was studying. I was cultivating tools. I started to study holistic health, and just everything called me to Maryland. And for years, I was an understudy, a volunteer. I mean, I was with the community, with the family. And that's when I became more multilingual, because I'm now in the room with women from all walks of life. And I'm moving further away from the religiosity. Ironically, in the nation, we studied a lot. It really started in my studies. When they say study and show yourself approved, I started studying at Southern University. I remember going into the library, spending hours having a Bible, a Quran, a dictionary.
Wow.
And I would look up every word. And that's when I started to get divine revelation and hearing. And my hearing became stronger and stronger. So that's where translation really started, is at Southern University.
Wow.
When I would go to that library and study, then we go to a study group on Friday night in the nation, and we call it bean pie scientists. We would be Navy beans. We would unpack. We would be unpacking, breaking it down, and I loved that. That was my space of being able to do that. So I would say I would have to credit Minister Farrakhan, because he is the one who taught us how to study and exegete the word.
All right now.
And so I studied there. And then every time I'd be around something else, I started studying Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes. I started going to metaphysical bookstores, and I wouldn't tell anybody. And so the more I'd study the way we were taught in the nation, now I'm studying Ernest Holmes. I'm seeing universal law. I'm saying, wait a minute. This is this. We're calling it this, and I see it here. I see it over there. I'm seeing now it's becoming neutralized to me, and I'm pulling further away from the traditional way because I'm also growing through my own personal development because in the nation, I was a captain, right? So when a sister comes to the door, there's always a lieutenant or a captain that's checking her dress.
Okay.
And I remember saying, I don't care about whether this sister has on stockings when I know that her heart may be broken.
All right.
I'm checking for a sister's to make sure she's dressed properly now, because I'm teaching and I'm hearing the women and I'm giving word. That was the moment that I got the call is in a workshop. I was teaching a workshop and I heard Spirit say, this is what I called you to do. You could do this for the rest of your life. And it was at that moment, all of my soldier just melted. And I moved into the love space like, wait a minute, we're not loving the people where they are. Yeah, we're training the people to be what?
Wow.
Not free. I don't care what movement we're part of. If a woman is coming in dressed in her dress white, but she's going home and being abused, we got a problem.
Wow.
If she's struggling in poverty or she has had childhood issues, there were women that was revealing things to me. And I was like, wait a minute, where are we addressing this in here? And so that's where I really went more into the spiritual, the universal. And when I moved to Maryland, I was immersed in a little bit of everything. And then I joined Intervisions.
Wow.
Iyanla did not have an institute when I met her.
Okay.
And I went to her at the end of a Wonder Woman workshop and said, I feel called to this. How can I study with you? How can I do this? Wow. She said, well, I don't have anything. You can take workshops. You can, do this. And later on, the Institute came and I enrolled.
And the Institute is Intervision.
Intervisions Institute for Spiritual Development.
So for the listeners, those who are tuning in, we talk about being spiritually multilingual. How would you define or explain it? What does it mean to be spiritually multilingual?
Is that you can go into any place and translate God through the dance, the song, the sounds, the expressions. That there is no spot where God is not. Wow. And that I can go, I know how to chant like the Buddhists. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Yes, why? Because when I was on an airplane, on my way to Washington, D.C. one summer, I met a girl who was traveling by herself with her. I was 13 or 14. She was about 16. She was a Buddhist. I was drawn to that. That's how I became multilingual. I dared to ask and not judge.
Wow. A lot of people are challenged with, they struggle trying to reconcile the different spiritual traditions. How do you navigate and integrate that in your own experience? And because you came from, your Baptist upbringing, your Catholic upbringing, from being a member of the nation, now you're expanding through your teachings and studies with Dr. Van Zandt. And then you haven't even talked about how did you move into the realm of becoming a priestess.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate, first of all, and integrate? And for those...
Okay, how many of you would like to hear the answer to that question? Because it's coming to a close. And I want you to go and check it out and comment. Go finish watching the rest on his channel, Unfiltered Truth on YouTube. And let him know that you're from the Rebirth Tribe. But for now, I want to just take a moment to check in to tell me, what part did you hear where you had a belly leap? What part did you hear that you felt like is a part of your story, your awakening story? Or what part have you not tapped into? Because I did say some things about trading spaces. How many of you just left the church, but yet the church is still in you? And that's nothing wrong with that. In fact, go check my Instagram stories, because, Spirit has been saying to me, I realize that, first of all, when you go to the extreme of denouncing something, sometimes that's necessary to get free. But you're not really truly free until you mature, until you can go into or be around that thing and it not trigger you. Some of you, I won't say your names, some of you get triggered when I play gospel music. Some of you get triggered when you hear me refer to a scripture, because you're not in the church anymore. But that means you're not fully free, because the truth is, when everybody's in love with hoodoo and conjure magic and all of that, but don't you know that when those deacons would sit on the morning bench and they would sing those chants, that was conjuring, that was pulling down strongholds? Because chanting on the morning bench at Cool Springs Missionary Baptist Church, or going to the Rock and singing the old songs and rocking, it is no different than the Buddhists who I met on the airplane saying Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, or someone saying Om. It's a different language, but it's no different when you say, I love the Lord, He heard my cry. Because you tapping into something your grandmother tapped into. It's no different. It's no different when the mothers of the church would start shouting and their hat would fall off than African traditional possession. It's no different than when you sit there and you begin to sing the songs. Lord, help me to hold out. What is it? It's no different, except it's a different language. It's no different than when you go and twerk. You might be doing it to an 808 beat and you going into a low vibrational thought because you're not possessed of your own femininity and yourself. But baby, when you twerk with a purpose, you're twerking to make the depression fall off. You're twerking to be able to call in your sacredness. Huh? It's no different. A lot of people are immature and they have doctorate degrees. They have bachelor's degrees. They have titles. They're executives. But the people who tell you it's different and want to make you hate somebody else, whose agent are they? Who are they working for? The agent of division. I heard somebody say that even the D9 organizations are participating in ancestral worship and they don't even know it. That's why some people say they denounce certain organizations, because the deltas look at the goddess Minerva. I mean, we could go on and on, but if you don't know who you are, because there's a Minerva in you. I'm from, my family's from the Mississippi Delta. What is the Delta? What is the symbol in spiritual mathematics of the delta symbol? Huh? What is the symbol in spiritual mathematics of psi and phi? That is the study and show yourself approved. Some of us are still eating baby food. So when it's time to take on any type of manna, we're still challenged with judgment, fear, performance, guilt, shame. The divinities, if you don't know what other people's divinities are, how can you judge them? Because you got them, and wherever you sit. There is a divinity that is Jesus in every other tradition. And there's nothing wrong with every other tradition who they see Jesus as an Indian. They see Jesus as an African. They see Jesus as a Chinese, because your divinities should connect to your culture. That's the first divinity. All right, let me get up. Let me get up off of this. Let me get up off of this. It's not Sunday morning. It's not the portal. We'll talk about that in our private time. Any questions, any ahas, any moments of that blessed you? I want to catch this. Chantel said, belly jump, holding on to old traditions. Confirmation was having the same conversation this morning. I love my old traditions as far as gospel music and praying in tongues. That is trance. Praying in tongues is trance. That is sometimes spirit possession. Of course, we have to be careful of what spirit we're calling in, because sometimes we're calling in spirits and playing with it. I was just having a conversation with another senior priest, and let me take your comment off. Dancing like David dance. Yes, all of that. I was just having a conversation with another priest, and there are levels to this. And so this is why having an elder and honoring the protocols of the more ancient traditions are protections for you and your family. It's a lot of people out here playing with these energies, and they're not psychologically whole. There's a lot of people playing with sex magic, and they have not done any healing work. There's a lot of people playing with plant medicine, and then you activate something, and you've never been to therapy. You've never dealt with you don't even know your genealogy. And so you don't know what attachments you call in. Who am I talking to today? So there are protocols. So when you come into these ancient traditions, there's still some protocols. And sometimes, and if your elder says, well, that's fire, the fire is hot, you will get burned. And you say, well, I'm free. Don't tell me what to do. I've come too far for you to tell me what to do. Okay. But then you get burned. And then you have not accessed the other parts of the formula, the science, the chemistry, because we are alchemical beings. All right. Okay. Who am I talking to? Who wants some more of this? Okay. Who wants some more of this? So let me tell you, this is a good time to have these types of conversations, because we have 6 planets in retrograde. 6 planets in retrograde. I don't want to get into it real deep today. I'm going to be, for those of you who are in planning with the planets, I'm going to be talking about those 6 to 7 planets tomorrow on IVTV. But then I'm also going to do something special for our tribe. If you're not a part of the portal, but you want to be a part of the conversation, a cosmic conversation, to look to see how this applies to you, to your house, to your relationship, just say me in the comments. And I'll send you a special link invitation to join. Those of you who are in the portal, you will be invited to the event next week on Monday. And then I don't know if this was a spontaneous shift talk, if you will, but if you are interested in really ending and finishing the year strong with all of these energies, Tamara, I got you, boo. You're already in the portal. So and not only that, you are a rebirth partner. So you're going to already get into these spaces. So thank you. But you do exactly what Tamara just did and come on in the room and join us. So I'm going to do two special things. One for the tribe and people who are in the tribe mindset and to really talk about how we need to prime our pump for 2026, how we can use this retrograde, not for fear, not for freezing and shutting down, but to open up and to go deeper into a deeper place. Not only that, we have three or four planets that's in water. So this is a deeply emotional and reflective time. So knowing and being aware of your own emotional intelligence is important, but also using and leveraging your feminine intelligence. So I am offering a retrograde reading that combines the emotional intelligence based on how it hits your chart, specific. I don't do anything now just random shooting in the wind unless I'm invited out to a speaking engagement into general audiences. When you work with me privately or you come into my programs, you know what you're coming in to hit that's specific to you. And so this retrograde reading is specific to your where these waters are being stirred for you. But there's also some abundance programming that's important to know. And so this is a real good time to start programming your money again, your money conversations. What is your money conversation right now? Not what it has been, not what it's gonna be, but what is your money conversation right now? The end of the year gets tricky for a lot of people. So you'll get that, plus you will also get a little bit more about specifics. So I'm going to tell you more about the planets. In fact, I may record it and then just have a debrief on Monday. So just let me know you want in and send me, if post it in the comments and share this with your friends. If you've enjoyed this conversation that I've had with Bishop Jack Bomar, Unfiltered Truth, I hope that you saw that I was pretty unfiltered. And I want you to go check out Unfiltered Truth on YouTube to watch the rest of it. There to hear the question, my answer to his question, and why he says we need a part 2. And if you feel we need a part 2, put that in the comments when you go over to YouTube. Say, I need a part 2 of this, Bishop. And I saw your comment, Tamara, when you said you were speaking into existence that he and I will host a podcast together. I think that's what you said. You said you love the chemistry. Where is it? Okay, there it is. You said, I'm calling in a podcast series with you two. It was such good chemistry and I love the show. Good. But you know what? You have friends that have questions, that are seeking, that are understanding. Play it for them. Share it with them. Sometimes people can't hear from you. They need to hear it from somewhere else for it to be credible. Don't take it personal and don't take it on that you got to be somebody's savior to convert them. Conversions happen by choice and by calling. You're either called to your conversion or you choose it. But even when you choose it, it's still answering a calling. So you can get the retrograde reading right now. You can get it. I don't do anything except for digital. Well, let me say the reading is recorded, by the way, but I don't do anything for the price point that I'm offering. This is a special get it before it changes in the next 24 hours. Get it now. If you are in the tribe, you will have access to it, but get it before it changes. Even if you're not ready to do it next week and you want to get, you can schedule out when you are available. Get it and give it as a gift. Consider it pre-Black Friday. Get it and give it as a gift to somebody else. All right, because it's priced right for you to be able to get into the know, to get the 411 and to prime your pump. Okay, so I'm so tempted to go into it, but I'm not right now. So thank you for watching. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'll see you all on the other side. And this is something Spirit told me to tell you. If you are under the sound of my voice and you've heard this conversation, you've heard this offer, you've heard the season and the time and what must be done, tag you're it. Pass it on to someone else. Don't keep it to yourself. See you on the other side, everyone. Ciao.